Sorry. We have 0 people watching us. Yeah, I called it I'm back. But I think I did that before as well. We have no one watching us. Oh, Romit's back. Hola. Hola. Sorry, guys. That was a gremlin on our side. Of course, as soon as we start getting into the nitty gritty and hard stuff, I don't know what happened there. My YouTube app just crashed. So we're back. Here we go. We got 64 people back. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys. Tech issues are tech issues. So, rotten gremlins. I don't even know what the gremlin is. I mean, everything was working, and then it just crashed. It's the second time it's done that, and I've checked my apps are up to date and whatnot. Sorry about that, guys. And we're about to get some really interesting stuff to chat about, and then, boing. Who knows? Yes, exactly. Who knows, Paula? The interwebs are a funny place. So I'm trying to remember. Oh, we're doing a case study. So if we take Kenya as one example, and Southern Africa as another example, and then we take Tanzania as a middle example. Romit, I really want to go to the Mile Forest. I've actually been chatting to someone who's doing a bongo project up there, but that's for a different discussion. Paula, you hear barking. That is from my neighbor who has a very badly behaved dog. Anyway, so back to this. Okay, so we're going to take Kenya as one example. Tanzania is a bad example. So it's a negative example of the Southern African model. So Botswana up until recently and now is starting trophy hunting again, which is a slight, actually, let's uncomplicate things. So we're going to take Kenya and we're going to take South Africa. We're going to forget about everything else for now, and we will discuss the other countries as and when they become relevant. So in the early 60s, Kenya placed a ban on all consumptive use of wildlife. So when I say consumptive use of wildlife, I mean trophy hunting, food hunting, felling of trees, consumptive. Paula, yes, consumptive like eating or utilizing or cutting or whatever you want to do. So Kenya placed a consumptive, they banned all consumptive use of wildlife. And that was in the early 60s. And all wild animals in Kenya belong to the government. They are state-owned animals, and which is the same for a lot of African countries. In South Africa, at about the same period, there was a very different change in legislation, which basically changed the way South Africa dealt with its wildlife. So if I'm in Kenya and I have a farm and I have an impala on the farm or a warthog and it's eating my crops, I cannot kill it because it does not belong to me. I have to apply for a permit from the state that says that it's a problem animal, blah, 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 and then someone will be come out sent out to kill it or shoot it if it is deemed a problem animal. Now in Kenya they still shoot problem elephants from time to time. They do keep it very quiet though, and things like that. Now at the same period, South Africa changed the legislature, and in what they did is they said you can privately own game, which means me as an individual can go out and buy an elephant or buy a rhino or buy an impala or buy a wildebeest, and that animal is now mine. So you can privately own animals. And since 1960, Kenya has lost 80% of its wildlife. South Africa has quadrupled its wildlife. Now, one thing a lot of you might not like to hear, a lot of that is to do with hunting. The fact that now a warthog that was eating my potatoes on my farm is now worth some money, I'm like, oh, well, maybe I should protect my warthog population, even if they eat a few potatoes, because I can sell a certain number off of them to meat hunters or to trophy hunters. So what's happened is South Africa, and especially in areas like where we live, and Leadwood, where we film a lot, 30 years ago, that was all cattle farm. Now, because you can own an animal individually, and that animal has a value. Now, Patty, canned hunting is a completely different scenario, and I'm going to stick on one controversial topic for a night. We will discuss the canned hunting thing at a later stage. But so now, because those animals are they have a financial value, people want to protect them. So you poach my impala, you are taking money out of my pocket, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a very complicated thing. So what's happened is that South Africa, a whole bunch of areas where wildlife had been completely eradicated, have now got wildlife coming back. And not just impala, wildebeest, and giraffe and whatnot. It's elephants, lions, cheetahs, because if you have those animals on your property, not only do you create value, your property is actually worth more now as a game farm where people can have houses to go and game drive or have lodges than that was previously as a cattle farm. So you by giving an actual, and I know it's a controversial topic, but by giving an animal monetary value, that animal now becomes part of the economy. So if I have lions and rhinos and giraffe on my farm, it's worth more than when I just used to have cows. Oh, I forgot. I'm cooking at the same time. I just need to go turn down the stove. I'm making curry at the moment. Let me just check. It's all good. It's all good. I did remember to turn it down before I started the live chat. I'm making a beef curry for those who are interested. I won't burn my dinner, Octogirly. Monique, I'm cooking enough for Viam and myself. That's what I'm cooking. MC Rambo, I'm allergic to curry. Well, good thing you're not at dinner with us. But so it's a very interesting discussion. And now, if we take a slightly different scenario, so in Botswana, which is where this whole conversation started, apart from two areas in Botswana, you cannot own animals. So when Botswana got its independence in the early 60s, a part of the independence deal is two sections of farms that had already been title deeded. Those title deeds got to stay. The rest of Botswana, all the animals, etc., are owned by the state, and you can then apply for permits to shoot them, etc., etc., up until when Ian Khama stopped the hunting completely. Now, what a lot of people don't know, and which is not publicly sexy to say, and I use that sexy as a very specific. Well, let me just answer Judy's question. Where hunting is allowed, do they ensure that it's not the biggest or strongest, best gene pool that are killed? Well, Julie, they wait till it's the oldest and it's past its prime. And the hunters are very good at maintaining their gene pool, because otherwise they wouldn't have comeback clients. So people don't want to shoot baby elephants, they want to shoot big elephants, or impala or nyala, it doesn't matter. So the hunters actually do a lot for anti-poaching. And those areas, now we're getting to Botswana now, and those areas work as feeder areas. So yes, I personally don't want to go hunting an elephant or hunting a buffalo or an impala or an nyala or whatever. However, I understand the conservation benefit on having hunters on the peripheries of areas which are considered quality game viewing areas. So quality game viewing is the Okavango Delta, the Chobe, etc. But there are massive areas of Botswana where it's shrub mopani, where you can go on game drive and you won't see anything, even though the animals are there, but the bush is so thick and the elephants and whatnot are run. However, now, if you take, I think I saw today when I was reading as I said, I apologize if I'm not responding to your comments because I need to keep my thoughts, my ducks in a row. So for a very big example, the year Botswana stopped hunting, I was actually visiting friends of mine in Botswana, and we went into one of the old hunting concessions. And before, while hunting was still operational, those hunters had a permanent staff in that area every year. There were anti-poachers, there were all sorts of stuff. Hunting stopped, the hunters pulled out, and cows, goats, and poachers moved in. Now, there's still a lot of game in that area, and it's nothing that they can't get back. As I said, it's a very complicated situation. Now, Botswana, I think, has issued 400 permits for elephants this year, as far as I was reading earlier. So now, again, and I know I've said this when I was on Safari Live, and I'll say it again. Everyone gets very focused on the fact that they're shooting elephants. Now, who can tell me what the population of elephants in Botswana is? MC Rambo, there are no gorillas in Botswana. It is mostly a semi-desert and arid savanna. 2,000? No. Okay, wait. Before we go, Botswana, what is the population of elephants in Africa? We got lots of guesses coming in here. So Botswana is estimated to have anything between 165 and 200,000 elephants. It is by far the largest elephant population in the world. As I said, yeah, the last research I've seen is between 165 and 200,000 elephants in the whole of Botswana. Now, and they hunted those elephants all the way up until 10 years ago. That's 400. There we go. Who said that? Arlo Moore. That's 400 elephants out of a population. Let's go on the downsize. 165,000. VMP, can you do some maths for me? Can you tell me what percentage is 400 out of 165,000? So VM's going to do some maths for me. There you go. Roman says Kenya is about 38,000. Africa, Patty, depends if you count both forest and savanna elephants, but the savanna elephants, you're probably looking about 450 to 600,000, depending on whose data you look at. And I haven't looked at the the total population of Africa too much. South Africa, we probably closing on, or Kruger's well over 20 now. South Africa is probably not even 50,000. There you go. Thank you. Don't worry. Pisces Bobby has done the maths for you, Vim. 0.02%. So there we go. Just think about that for a second. So 400 sounds like a lot, but in the Botswana population, it's 0.02%. It is less than what? It's nearly nothing. So catalog, Brent, I'm assuming hunting is not allowed for tusks. Yes, the people who hunt the elephants are allowed to take the tusks with them. The meat goes to the local communities. Now, Robert is saying wild animals are running out of land due to more people and even more the wild birds, and I agree with you. Painted wolf, I don't know how much a kilo of ivory costs. So you must understand that legal ivory is very, very difficult to put a cost on it, because most legal ivory comes from hunters, etc., stuff like that, and they don't sell it; they keep it. And then other illegal ivory is antiques. So illegal ivory, I'm not even sure. Jagga, Kenya is changing its way now towards consumption use of wildlife. I have seen some of that, and I've actually spoken to some of the people who are leading that in terms of the starting to use of consumption wildlife. But I think Kenya's got a long way to go, and I think there's a lot of politics and policies that someone like Romit will know much better than I do. And I have dealt with some of the politics in Kenya, and it's scary. Now, Dale says humans are a plague to this planet. We are, but until we learn to deal with this type of stuff. Now, an interesting fact for you about Botswana that these elephants that are causing a lot of the human-wildlife conflict, which is causing a lot of the stress and in Botswana and stuff like that. Do you know these elephants are in areas that the elephants wouldn't have normally been? And who can tell me why? The elephants would have passed through, but they would not have resided there permanently. Oh, there's lots of it. Greed is the motivator, yes. Romans, I know about some of those farms. Fences, it's not fences. Botswana has some of the fewest fences. Monique, it's not even to do with the higher numbers of elephants. There we go. Bobby, because of pumped water. So in desert areas and marginal areas where the elephants might have visited occasionally during the wet season, now there's permanently pumped water, which is now bringing elephants far out of what have been their normal range right into the middle of the central Kalahari Desert. No, Robert, it's not because the elephants are forced into the area because of loss of their normal land range. In Botswana, their land range is very, very good. Now, at the moment with the transfrontier boundaries, they're trying to push more elephants into Angola and to Namibia, but that's going to take time. There you go, Kathy, spot on, water is life. And without people pumping water, those elephants would have stayed in those areas. But now there's water because people need to water their goats, their cows, their donkeys. So it is a very interesting discussion. And as I said, it's very easy to sit halfway across the world and vilify the Botswana government. And I actually have a lot of respect for the current Botswana government because they went and asked the people. Jacqueline, I don't hunt. I don't. I hunted as a child. My grandfather was a hunter, but I haven't hunted in many, many years. I have shot animals when they've been wounded or I've been hungry. No, it is juice. But anyway, let me just try to wrap this up because this is, and we will discuss this again. Monique, no, people don't need to get permits to pump water. As long as you can drill a borehole, you can do it. So let me just think about this now to wrap this up a little bit quickly to just try. How am I going to say this? So, in the long run, for the savior of animals in Botswana, and you must remember that elephants obviously are the most easily available species, but because if the hunting concessions are shooting elephants, and as we worked it out, 0.02% of the population, which might have a little effect on the elephants in that area, but on the meta population, on the health of the population as a whole, it has zero effect. And you've got to remember that most of those elephants being hunted are probably over 55 years to 60 years, so past their prime. For me, I have no interest in hunting an elephant. However, the fact that if the hunters are hunting in those areas and they are protecting those areas, it gives the lions protection, it gives the impala protection, it gives the duikers protection, because those animals all need their space, and those areas create a greater space under wildlife. And if we have to have consumptive use for the greater good, I personally am not going to go and pick up a firearm and disappear into the bush and go. But I understand the long-term and conservational benefit of these areas being available for this, as long as it's conserved as a wild space. And as I said, this is a discussion I think we're going to keep on having over the next while. We by no means near done with this. But VM and I are hungry, and I need to go check on my curry. So it's been absolutely grand chatting with you all. And before we go, we're probably going to do another live chat tomorrow for the people who couldn't make this chat at this time of the night. So probably mid-morning in South African time. So and also for our patrons on Patreon, we're going to be putting out a poll a little bit later to see what time suits you guys best for a live chat so we can have as many of you as possible on it. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful weekend. And we will chat soon. Bye. Oh, wait. I forgot. I cannot leave you without saying the puppy. I did promise puppy. It's sleeping though. Wait, let me bring the torch. Come, puppy. I don't want to wake her up because she's a terror. There we go. Fast asleep. She's dreaming. Okay, guys. So great to chat to you. We'll chat soon. Good night.